Josh Weber here from Big Red Jelly, where we help brand build and grow companies by combining human creativity with cutting edge digital tools to ultimately help businesses, entrepreneurs, professionals drive and accelerate measurable and efficient growth. Today's topic is an interesting one and one I've been meaning to share for a while. It would be titled and will be titled Attention Agencies and Businesses Looking to Hire Agencies. Here are my predictions for 2021 and beyond. So specifically for agencies in the digital space and that relationship between agencies and businesses. So if you're a business owner who works with agencies, these might be things to look for in an agency or things to follow up with your current agencies. If you're an agency owner, maybe these are things you've thought about when it comes to the future of digital, when it comes to the future of marketing, advertising, branding. These are my predictions for 2021 and beyond, what we're going to see more of, and the changes we're going to see going forward. So number one, what changes we can expect to see in the agency realm? I think data, well, this I think is probably becoming not so much a debate anymore, but data is the new valuable commodity, maybe the most valuable commodity. I like to start off with a quote that I like by Peter Sondergaard of Gartner Research, who once said, "Information is the oil of the 21st century, and analytics is the combustion engine." I think that data and information going forward, or if it's not already, is the most valuable commodity. So what does that ultimately mean for agencies and businesses working with agencies going forward? I think it's just going to it's going to take center stage when it comes to strategy and implementing marketing campaigns, advertising campaigns. Agencies have to prove that they at least are experienced and comfortable around data, analytics, information, but more importantly, what that means. In fact, I want to dive into a short little snippet here by Information Week. This is data shared by Gartner Research, and these are some of their predictions for 2021 as it relates to data and information. So number two, they titled Decline of the Dashboard. This really caught my attention because a lot of agencies do this, right? They'll say, well, we have a dashboard. Look at all these cool KPIs we share. You'll get it once a week, once a month, every other quarter. We can edit it according to what you look for. That's not going to be good enough, I think, going forward. Let me read this paragraph. Again, this is Information Week. Decline of the dashboard. Data stories, not dashboards, will become the most widespread way of consuming analytics by 2025. And 75% of these stories will be automatically generated using augmented analytic techniques. AI and machine learning, shout out to my previous video, which was about those two things. AI and machine learning techniques are making their way into business intelligence platforms. In dashboards, users have to do a lot of manual work to dive into further insights. But these data stories provide the insights without requiring the user to perform their own analysis. That's huge. I think that leveraging the power of AI as it becomes just better and exponentially better, and as it's been pushed forward, in my opinion, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, you're going to see the leveraging of AI and machine learning in these dashboards, data and analytics, in order to create data stories, right? So, okay, we've got this data, we've got these analytics, we've got a dashboard, so what? What are we going to do about it? What does it mean? I think there has to be recognition that data and information is valuable. However, I think it's going to become increasingly more important for these agencies to recognize that it's valuable, but also to treat it with respect and know how to use it. So I do think businesses are going to become more cognizant of how the end user views their data. You're seeing a lot of these movements now, DuckDuckGo, for example, these new browsers that are coming out that protect people's data. Apple, for example, that's one of their big marketing approaches is privacy, which I think is going to really pay off as people become more aware of their personal information, data, and that it is of value, right? So I think agencies not only knowing that it is a valuable commodity, it's very valuable, knowing how to use it, being comfortable around it, and then knowing how to treat it with respect and be transparent, not abuse that power. Businesses are going to appreciate that because at the end of the day, the end user is going to appreciate that more and more. So that was number one. Data is the most valuable commodity, but how do you use it? How are agencies going to use it? Number two, again, my opinion here, right? But I think that online marketing and advertising platforms, channels, tools are going to become more and more commoditized. What do I mean by that? I think that just look at Facebook ads, for example, when those first came out, late 2000s or 2010, 2009. Look at Google PPC. For those who were in those platforms in the early days, you will be the first to acknowledge how much those have changed between then and now. SEO, for example, building a website. These tools were almost impossible for anyone without very specialized background and expertise in those areas. Now, and you can feel free to debate me on this topic, but now they're becoming so much easier to manage and to optimize and to improve. I bump into a lot of small business owners, mom and pop shops, who are, in my opinion, running pretty phenomenal online ad campaigns. I mean, I've seen some pretty amazing things that small business owners are able to create on PPC, a Google, a Bing, a Facebook, Instagram ads, you name it. Because those platforms are becoming more user-friendly in the back end, the platforms themselves are recognizing they need to make it easier. It's opening up their reach. And then number three, again, as younger audiences are moving into these leadership roles and opening their own businesses, of course they're familiar with it. They grew up on social media platforms. So there's a little bit of a learning curve there. So I think that these tools will become more commoditized. So what does that mean for agencies and companies working with agencies? I think that means two very important things. There's going to be added emphasis and value on two things. Number one, creativity. Number two, strategy. I think those are the two elements that will probably be the last, if ever, to be commoditized. That's the human element. And I know it sounds cheesy, but that's what AI cannot duplicate. That's really hard to create a SaaS product, right, that replicates human creativity and strategy, right? So given the stories that an AI can put together, or a dashboard, analytics, information, or using the tools that are in front of us, well, what's the strategy behind it? Okay, you know how to do PPC or social media ads or Instagram. It's easy now. But which one should we use? When do we use it? How do we use it? How do we position ourselves on those ads? We're not wasting money, right? And then the creativity aspect. So if you're working with an agency or you are an agency, I think there should be extra highlight on those two aspects. Even if you're an agency who's specifically in SEO or specifically in Facebook ads, like that's all you do, Facebook ads, highlight or begin to think about highlighting the benefit of your creative spin on those Facebook ads. That's so hard to teach. It's so hard to duplicate, is the creative aspect, right? Creativity and strategy. That's number two. Number three, a trend I think we're going to see continue, and something I think agencies would be wise to start to position themselves around, is connecting online and offline data, right? So digital marketers, digital agencies have long boasted about the ability to track a lot of what they do because it's digital. Connecting this online and offline data is going to be huge, especially considering, let me just read this quote really quick. This is by technative.io. Just jumping down, this is an article again about this connection between integrating online data and offline data. Okay, and when you take a closer look at the gap it leaves in a digital marketing operation, it's pretty huge. After all, most customer activity still happens offline. In fact, 90% of retail sales take place offline. So if they haven't connected the data living in their CRM, email, and point of sale systems to online, then marketers are making important decisions with incomplete, imperfect data. And they're missing out on a huge chunk of the action. Marketers are getting really good at connecting some of these points, and that's probably a whole other video that we can dive into. But I think agencies that are comfortable with the connection or making predictions between online and offline data are very powerful and well positioned going forward. One of the things that I think is going to bridge that gap is what's called the Internet of Things, right? So as our lives become more integrated with the internet or just digital, that data that used to be considered offline, I think will become more measurable. what is the Internet of Things? Let me give you a few examples, and you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I know what that is, right? So connected appliances, right? If you have like a fridge, smart fridges, stove, smart home security systems, wearable health monitors, wireless inventory trackers, ultra high-speed wireless internet, cybersecurity scanners, logistics and shipping container tracking. These are things that are digital tools, online internet connected tools, but they're integrated and embedded with real world things that we use each and every day. So those are my 3 pivots. Those are my 3 changes that we're going to see. 3 important points to remember if you are an agency or a business working with an agency going into 2021. Those are things that I think both of those groups should start to explore and become more comfortable with, because they're going to become very important in 2021 and definitely beyond. That's it from me, Josh Weber with Big Red Jelly. Tune in next time as we dive into anything, tips, tricks, advice when it comes to branding, building, and growing a business. We're here to help you. Comment below what you think are some trends we're going to see in 2021, specifically for agencies and their relationship with businesses. Thank you.